maha e te nui i te rangi e, ko tau i takahi i te arato ngaki ngaki o te ao huri huri nei e. Haere mai, haere mai, haere mai rahe, ko tau ngā kanohi ora ora akau, kua te tūrangi te arahe.
O te amora ni ki ua o te hāpai o ki muri. Kia tani hōna mana ki tanga ki runga ki tēnā ki tēnō tāta. Te hōno e he kuroria he mau ngāra mo ki runga ki te mato te whenua whakaru pai i ngā tangata katoa. Arohaina ngā taina me ngā tuakana e noko nei i rungi te whakaru kotahi pai mai.
E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā iwi o ngā hau e whā. Tēnei aku mihi mahana ki o koutou katoa. Nau mai, hara mai, ki te whare kāwana ke konei ki whanganui e tara. Kia ora mai tātou katoa. Distinguished guests, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to Government House for today's investiture ceremony. I want to specifically acknowledge Mrs. Debbie Ngarewa Paka, co-leader of Te Pāti Māori, the Honourable Opito William Sewell, Member of Parliament, Mr. Joe Harawira, our kaumātua, and Mrs. Puhiwahine Tibu, our kuia. Hosting investiture ceremonies is one of the most important duties I perform on behalf of His Majesty, the King of New Zealand. I am delighted to bring together such an extraordinary group of New Zealanders. You have each brought pride and a greater sense of well-being to Aotearoa New Zealand through your outstanding achievements and your service to our communities. On behalf of all New Zealanders, I extend my sincerest thanks to you for your contributions. After each recipient is honoured, I invite you to join with me in congratulating them. Ms. Catriona McLeod will now summon the recipients and read their citations.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Paul Morgan of Nelson, for services to Māori and business. Paul Morgan has been instrumental in helping iwi reclaim land of their forebears, to develop commercial and social enterprises, to restore social and economic well-being of Māori. He's the Director and Chairman of Kono New Zealand LP and the Alternative Director of Anagenics. For more than 31 years, he has dedicated himself to seeking restitution associated with the Nelson tents and occupation lands, which included years of research and travel to engage with families affected. The claim was settled in 2017 when the Supreme Court recognised that the Crown owes legally binding duties to Māori landowners independently of the Treaty of Waitangi or statute. Mr. Morgan is Director, Chair and member of several organisations and initiatives, including the Asian New Zealand Foundation and the New Zealand-China Council. Mr. Paul Morgan, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Bernie McCone of Cromwell, for services to the pharmaceutical sector. Bernie McCone was a member of the New Zealand College of Pharmacists Academic Advisory Board and the New Zealand Pharmacy Education and Research Foundation Board. He was a member of the Ministry of Health's Registering Authority of Pharmacists and the Medicines Classification Committee. He led the pharmacy profession's governance implementation of the Health Practitioners Competence Assurance Act 2003 and helped set up clinical pharmacist services in general practices in Southland. He normalised conversation around men's health through radio shows, event stalls, and the Men's Health Expert website. He was a Gore Hospital Board member, chair of the New Zealand College of Pharmacists, and president of the Pharmaceutical Society. Mr. McCone has been president of Southland Football Referees Association, chair of Southland Rugby Board, and a Gore Rotary Club member. Mr. Bernie McCone, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Wallace Bain, for services to health and the community. Wallace Bain is a pharmacist and lawyer. As Mayor of Te Kuiti and Waitomo District, he was a strong supporter of Maniapoto Iwi. He was coroner for King Country and Bay of Plenty, contributing to changes to the firearms code and campaigning against cot death related to co-sleeping, texting while driving, youth drinking, and cyberbullying. He's initiated meetings to inform local iwi on coronial changes and to seek their participation in decision-making. He's provided pro bono legal advice to community groups. He is an International Rugby Board Commissioner. Mr. Bain supports the Life Education Trust to provide books in South Waikato and funding for a school in Fiji. Wallace Bain, please come forward. Ms. Priscilla Bacon of Fielding for services to midwifery. Priscilla Bacon has been a midwife for 41 years in New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the African Sahel. She has been a home birth midwife, an establishing member of the Community Birth Services Trust, a midwifery lecturer, and a community midwife at Mid Central Health. She was a founding member of the New Zealand College of Midwives and has served as a midwifery standards reviewer, midwife consultant, Bachelor of Midwifery advisor, expert witness, and midwifery practice mentor. She has written and presented on topics such as home birth and breastfeeding. Ms. Bacon continues to advocate for collaborative methods of working in midwifery and informally acts as a mentor for midwifery colleagues. Ms. Priscilla Bacon, please come forward. Mr. Lloyd Chapman of Otaki for services to the community and heritage rose preservation. Lloyd Chapman established Trinity Farm Rose Nursery in 1988 with his wife, growing heritage roses across 3 acres of land, home to 1,500 roses. He's a member of Heritage Roses New Zealand and has spoken at historic rose conferences. He was a founding member and secretary of Keep Otaki Beautiful, helping the Kapiti Coast District Council purchase and transform a piece of land into a community park. He's the founding member and secretary of Energize Otaki, which aims to make Otaki self-sufficient in energy. Mr. Chapman purchased the Otaki Mail community newspaper in 2013 following potential closure and served as editor until 2021. Mr. Lloyd Chapman, please come forward. Professor Christine Ruby Davies of Auckland for services to education. Professor Christine Ruby Davies has been an educator, leader, researcher and mentor at the University of Auckland's Faculty of Education and Social Work for 25 years. She developed the program High Expectation, Remarkable Outcomes, which encourages teachers to have high expectations of their students and shows teachers how to communicate such expectations. This program is now offered in New Zealand, Australia, Canada, the United Kingdom and the Netherlands. Her work has had a particular impact on the achievement, self-belief and engagement of Māori and Pacifica students. She has authored or co-authored more than 130 publications and spoken at hundreds of conferences. Professor Ruby Davies is a fellow of the American Psychological Association. Professor Christine Ruby Davies, please come forward. Father Paulo Filo Iali'i of Christchurch for services to the Pacific community. Father Paulo Filo Iali'i was the first Pacific priest ordained in Rome in 1990 and now leads Tongan and Fijian Catholic churches in the Lower South Island. He is the first Samoan and Pacific priest to serve on the board of Etu Pacifica, which provides a range of services for families including mental health, addictions, and smoking cessation services. He engages with the Samoa Victim Support Group in Samoa and is deputy chair of the Fraternity of Samoan Ministers in Canterbury. He's the chaplain for the Christchurch Women's and Men's Prison. Father Filo Iali'i has helped coordinate provision of resources such as food and petrol to families during the COVID-19 pandemic. Father Paulo Filo Iali'i, please come forward. Mrs. Joss O'Donnell of Invercargill for services to business and community development. Joss O'Donnell is a director of H.W. Richardson Limited. She's been key to the Invercargill Central Limited initiative between Invercargill City Council and H.W. Richardson to re-energise Invercargill's central business district. She chaired the Vibrant Urban Centres initiative, which led into the City Streets development project. She and her family's businesses have established tourism activities, including Bill Richardson Transport World, Classic Motorcycle Mecca, and Dig This Invercargill. She's been a member of the World Motor Museum Council. Mrs. O'Donnell was a founding director of development body Great South, a founder of the Invercargill Public Arts Trail Trust, and a member of the Prime Minister's Business Advisory Council. Mrs. Joss O'Donnell, please come forward. Dr. Amama Thornley of Christchurch for services to health. Dr. Amama Thornley has been actively involved in general practice since arriving in New Zealand in 1979. She also worked as an on-call honorary police medical, providing forensic medical examinations and treatment of alleged sexual assault victims. She supported the National Doctors for Sexual Abuse Care Organisation, now Medical Sexual Assault Clinicians Aotearoa, and helped establish their Christchurch clinic. She volunteers at the City Mission Free Clinic, assisting clients using night shelters in Christchurch. She has volunteered and worked with communities in Vietnam, Rarotonga and Niue, and funded community projects in her hometown of Busia, Uganda. Dr. Thornley plays an active teaching role in the A2 Pacifica Clinic in Christchurch. Dr. Amama Thornley, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the Queen's Service Medal, Mrs. Carol Martin of Hokitika for services to the community and netball. Carol Martin was acting secretary and committee member for Hokitika Free Kindergarten and a trustee for Kanieri School and Westland High School, where she was instrumental in gaining support to construct an all-weather facility covering the existing netball courts. She's been involved with Hokitika Netball as a player, committee member, secretary, treasurer and president. She was a player, treasurer and president of the Bulla Westland Netball Union. She coached age group representative teams before committing to umpiring. She was treasurer of the 4th Westland Boys Brigade. Mrs. Martin has represented ASB Bank as a volunteer at community events. Mrs. Carol Martin, please come forward. Mr. Hemi Narewa of Pātea for services to the community and education. Matua Hemi Narewa, Ngāti Ruanui, Ngā Ruahine, Ngā Rauru, Pakakohe Tangahoe is Educational Grants Officer for Te Runanga o Ruanui Trust. At Pātea Primary School, he's been chair of the board, a teacher, head of the Department of Māori Studies and Careers Officer. He chairs the trustees of Pareroa Pā and is an iwi liaison officer for Taranaki Police. He is a member of the executive of the South Taranaki Justice of the Peace Association and has assisted members of the judiciary at Hawara District Court. Mr. Narewa is a lay minister for the Pātea Māori Methodist Church. Mr. Hemi Narewa, please come forward. Your Excellency, the investiture has concluded.
New Zealand's honours system is our highest public affirmation of outstanding individual achievement. It reinforces those things that make our society better: service, manaakitanga, and the pursuit of excellence. To our recipients, it has been a privilege to hear your stories. You have each used your talents and abilities to improve the lives of fellow New Zealanders. In doing so, you embody the spirit of the whakatauki, whaia te iti kahurangi, ki te tū ohu koe me he maunga teitei. Seek the treasure that you value most dearly. If you bow your head, let it be to a lofty mountain. I urge recipients to wear your insignia with pride at every opportunity, knowing that you inspire others by your example. On behalf of the King of New Zealand and all New Zealanders, I congratulate you on your achievements, and I thank you again for your service to our communities. Kia ora, I huhi mai tātou I tēnei rā. Now you will see on the back of your programs our national anthem in Te Reo Māori and in English, and I now invite you to stand with me and sing both.